There you go.
So, welcome to another live question and answer, and people already are on. We appreciate that. Say hello to everybody, especially our good clients that are out there, but also YouTube people that we always are appreciative of. And just as a reminder, please subscribe, and also BroadwayUpholsteryschool.com. You'll get notifications when you do that as to all this new stuff that we're posting. We're posting so much. I mean, we posted a do-it-yourself introduction, I think, last week, 1 week, and we've already got 10,000 views on that. We're very happy about that. And we're approaching, not that this means, I don't know what it means, to be honest with you, but we are a week away from getting 1 million views on our channel, and I'm excited about 1 million views. Who knows what it means, but I think the more important number is our subscribers, and we always insist, try to get people to subscribe to get the new content. And we've got an exciting question and answer today, and feel free to ask anytime. Jump in there with the question and answer, because that gets first priority, because that's why we're here. So I'll be interrupted at any point. It doesn't matter for one of those questions live. So. But right now, I wanted to catch up on some things on the Facebook forum. We've got a really good founding member, Pam, who she's very proficient, very good at the upholstery work. And I'm looking at a couple of, Patrick's probably going to put this up, some chairs, some French chairs that she's done. And the thing about these French chairs, they're very dainty and very delicate, very difficult to do. They look simple, but they're not. And she's got some close-ups of her work, and one of the close-ups is the double piping that I see. She's done a really nice job with the double piping, and I think that she's well on her way. But let me just read to you what she wrote here. She said, she rescued a pair of old vintage chairs, painted the frames, and used new Belgium linen upholstery fabric. She said, don't you just love a classic French chair? Yes, I do. I love the lines of a French chair. Granted, they're not the most comfortable chair, but they're not designed for comfort. They're side chairs mainly, but they're beautiful accent pieces too. And I think you did a great job, Pam. So let's move on to some questions. Henry Hill, he was watching, I think, a live upholstery workshop. I think Upholstery Tips and Tricks was the title, and he said, I've been looking at many videos, and he says, this guy knows his stuff. I really appreciate the compliment, but I would have to pass that compliment on to the people who trained me, and they were my mentors, older gentlemen, some of them survivors from World War II, Jewish survivors. They were great in teaching me all the tricks of the trade, which I love to pass on to you guys. I think it's a great way for their memory to live on by me doing what I do. And I appreciate the compliments. I take criticism too. Somebody criticized the shop looked messy, they said online, and I answered them and I said, well, it is a working shop we have here. So when you see me here, I just finished a day's worth of work. We did clean up quickly, but there's still remaining dust and things like that. I would love to have a studio, a real studio to do some work, but that's just not going to happen right away. But it's a working shop. Keep that in mind. So we're not going by scripts here or anything like that. We're just moving, plugging along. So so let's get to another question. Thank you, though, Henry. I appreciate that very much. So we got a call. I did a quick tips on how to fix damaged upholstery by pets, especially cats. And we love cats upholsterers because a lot of we have a studio audience. I thought I heard a comment, a meow over there. Is that you, Jimmy, over there? Yeah. Jimmy is, I think he's in row 22 today. I think I see him.
I can't see him from here.
Where are you?
The light, is that you, Kevin Wade?
We're over here.
Yeah.
So Lorna says, my cat is a feral cat. Oh, wait a minute, Lorna.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute now. You got a feral cat. You're living with the feral cat. You might as well be living at the Bronx Zoo with the lions and tigers, man. I'm telling you, I have a little bit of experience here with these feral cats. I'll tell you a little story after I read hers. True story.
I just wanted to say a few things. I Am Awesome is back. Remember Pennywise?
Pennywise, thank you, Pennywise. We do not discriminate here. We allow clowns to watch. That's no problem. Jimmy is a good example. No, I'm just kidding,
Oh,
Jimmy.
yeah. I can't see you, Kevin. It's getting very dim.
Joseph's back.
Joseph is back.
Erica, of course, is here.
Erica, thank you.
Blair is here, who we haven't heard from for a while.
Wow.
But he says he's been very busy. So
Is he doing?
probably doing a lot of projects.
Wow. You guys hope to keep you more busy. We have some amazing stuff. I have a new thing that we're doing with Jimmy that I'll introduce in a little while after I do this that we're kind of excited about. So we're always got these new ideas, and all of it is learning, is to teach upholstery and the trade in a fun way.
I Am Awesome had a funny comment about the messy shop. He says you should see his shop if they thought your shop's messy.
Yeah, well, who was that said that?
I Am Awesome.
Well, I Am Awesome. I tell you, I've been told that I have the cleanest working shop around, so I think that's a compliment too. But it's kind of hard to keep up the sweeping and the scrubbing and all that when you're knee deep in the work, right? But anyhow, so Lorna says my cat is feral and he's my baby. Okay, I get that. But he causes damage to my sofas too. I'm going out to get the bits and trying your tips today. So she's gonna. The name of that video is "Quick Tips Fixing Upholstery Damaged by a Pet," and that's on the upholstery, Broadway Upholstery School. You know, it's just little, things that I kind of came up with. When somebody can't spend the money to reupholster their whole piece and they just want to present the furniture in a better way than having it all hanging out with the upholstery. And it doesn't work on all pieces or fabrics, but I think they're good tips. I'll stand by them. I know that they're not the perfect solution, but there you have it. Any questions yet? Okay.
No, just a lot of good comments.
So Roger, now I really love this stuff. I really do. I love the history. When I learn about other upholsterers and their experiences, it's great. So he says, he's commenting on the art of spitting tacks. I have a video where I spit tacks. I don't advise beginners to do this, by the way. But I'm just on the tail end, in my age group, of one of the upholsterers that was spitting tacks, and then we switched over to the pneumatic staple gun. But Roger says, third generation upholsterer. Well, that's fantastic in itself here. Have known probably 20 or 30 upholsterers throughout the years. Most all spit tacks, inevitably to swallow one now and then. The consensus is that once in the stomach acids round off the sharp edge, causing no harm on the way out. It must be true. Neither
Is that where he gets the phrase, Kevin? Oh, never mind.
Well, we have a story about that. Our cousin came up with something.
Causing no harm on the way out. Must be true. Neither I nor anyone I know ever had a problem. That could be traced to swallowing a tack. The staple gun has certainly taken over the trade. A Russian immigrant worked at our shop for a while. He was an upholsterer in Russia. He wore a magnet on his belt. It would hold a bunch of tacks. He would grab one, stick it where he wanted it, drive it in, fast as lightning. Very strange, I remember thinking. Wow, never heard that before. I love that. Leave it to the Russians to come up with something like that. I'll tell you a little story about spitting tacks. One time I had a famous television crew come in from a magazine program in the Boston area. I won't mention. But they came into the shop where I was working, and I was spitting tacks. This is when I was spitting tacks. And you're right about the lightning speed. You had to be fast, all right? And so I was spitting the tacks, as fast as this. What you're seeing is I had the tacks in my mouth, the hammer's coming up, I'm rolling each individual tack, the head of the tack coming out on my tongue, and the magnet picking it up with perfect timing. So it was literally, when I was doing it, it was literally this fast, and you'd be switching the hammer, you'd be going from the magnetic end to the hammer end. So the producer said, cut. And she picked up the hammer, she looked at it, and she said, where are the tacks coming out of? So she couldn't even see, that the tacks were coming out of my mouth. And I had great pleasure when I said, they're not coming out of the hammer, they're coming out of me, my mouth. And she was amazed. She even tried slowing the video down, and it still was fast as lightning, like you said. You had to be really good at this and practice. And I mean, in the day, I could spit tacks as fast as I could pull the trigger on the pneumatic staple gun. But we don't have to do that anymore. If you're going to do anything, do what the Russian guy does. Have a magnetic belt and have the tacks in your belt. I think that's a terrific idea, terrific alternative, right? Wow, I learned something new today. That's cool. We have an exciting announcement. I'm not sure what that was, but that was a few weeks ago. And Ann says, I'm really looking forward to that. We've got other things in the work I think that you guys are going to like. And I think for you guys that have trouble, you get stuck on a project, I won't reveal it yet because we're still working on it, but it's going to be good for people who get stuck on a project and they want to see me live, put it that way, with their project. So we're working on that. So I'm sorry, Patrick, if I spilt the beans. So Erica, she seconds Janine, she can't wait, and Janine says she can't wait. They're talking to one another. I'm not sure if this is the forum. Make sure you guys sign up for the forum on Facebook, the Broadway Upholstery School Forum, right, Patrick?
Right.
Okay, we got a question from Debbie. Do we have any live questions yet? Okay. Debbie says, I have a matching pair of his and hers. I removed everything. Bottom was complete burlap. No webbing with springs attached. The top cake of the seat had horsehair, grass, not straw, and raw cotton. The edge roll is made of what looks like tightly twisted paper. Neither chair has a maker's mark anywhere. This chair reminds me of the ones I have. What era would have used these supplies to fashion a chair? Thank you for posting these videos. I have thoroughly enjoyed every second. From Nashville, Tennessee. Well, let's break this down. First of all, she said the bottom was complete burlap with no webbing. That's a mistake. You can never attach springs to just burlap. Now, it might have been the heavy burlap, but it doesn't matter. You definitely need the webbing, and usually with no burlap. You either have the webbing with no burlap. You don't need the burlap. Now, the French had a tradition where they used webbing and burlap to finish it off, and sometimes they even finished it off on the bottom with another piece of burlap. So the one piece of burlap would be stapled on top, or they'd web it. One piece of burlap would be stapled, folded on the top, and then another piece of burlap over that, folded under to finish it off. That was a tradition, I think, the French. Okay, and then she says the top of the cake, the seat had horsehair. That's good. And also a grass combination, which, not straw, she says, which is a little unusual, the mix of the two. But this was probably a company that had limited resources. I mean, if you're going to use the batting horsehair, why wouldn't you use all horsehair? But so they must have been trying to stretch it a little bit by using the grass, which is a much cheaper method. But grass will break down much quicker. Grass and straw will break down much quicker than horsehair and raw cotton. Okay. Then she says they use raw cotton too. So there's a little mystery involved in the supplies they used here, but I'm trying to break it down, trying to make some sense of it. The edge roll is interesting, where they used, it sounds like the edge roll is more of a modern edge roll with the twisted paper inside, which is what we use, which you see up here. Get to this in a minute, but that's what that is. That's burlap around twisted paper. So that's a newer method. So at some point maybe they replaced the hand-stitched horsehair edge roll with the more modern one. Okay, and I guess that's it. I think she's asking what era. So the era would be horsehair, usually, 100 years, 200 years ago, somewhere around there. They used to use, originally on pieces, upholstery started out very simply with seats like this, and not this in particular, but they used to use horsehair just on a seat like this and finish it off. I'm going to start taking this apart in this class, hopefully I have time. This is a job that came in, there are 6 of these, and I'm kind of interested in seeing what they had done on this. I think they made a mistake on these, and I think getting back to Debbie's question, I think they made the mistake of not putting webbing in here, but we'll take a look at that. We'll strip it. Janine says, great question and answer this week. She said, just a question from the beginning of the video about coconut fibers. Here we go about coconut fibers, Jimmy, your favorite fiber.
Oh, yeah, well, exactly, yeah, I drink a lot of day.
The video that coconut fiber being second to horsehair. Is the coconut fiber a special type just for upholstery, or might it be sourced to, say, a plant nursery? I think, Janine, if you can get it at a plant nursery, that's fine. I don't know where to get coconut fiber. I don't think my supplier has it. I know he doesn't, but I know he has horsehair. So if I were recommending a good batting or a traditional batting, it definitely would be the horsehair. I wouldn't. Definitely the horsehair. That's what I would use. So I think that. What's that?
Putting a video up of you spitting tacks.
Spit the tack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't recommend that, you guys. Is it up there now, Patrick?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend that. I knew an upholsterer, I think I mentioned this before, he used to have three
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
size
6.
tacks
Spit
in
the
his
tack.
mouth. He used to have the 3s, the 6s, and a 14s right in the front of his mouth. And he looked like one of those chipmunks, right? Or Don Zimmer. I don't know if you guys know who Don Zimmer was. But they used to call him the gerbil, right? Right, Jimmy?
Yeah.
And he could
He
have called
thought he was the lightweight champion of the New York Yankees at one time.
they called him a gerbil because he used
He
to,
looked like a gerbil.
but didn't he chew a lot of tobacco and his cheeks were always puffy out?
I don't know about the chewing tobacco. I know he had those puffy cheeks, though.
Okay, well that's how this upholstery used to look. And he could call up any size tack any time of the day. And you're not going to believe this? Nobody believes what I'm about to say next. So he used to eat lunch. The tack stayed in his mouth when he ate the lunch. Now, how did he keep track of all the tacks in his mouth? I'm amazed. I never seen anything like that anywhere, Jimmy. But I wouldn't tell you to do that at all. But anyhow, I'm going to start with taking a piece of pie. I'm just curious about this oak chair right here. And I'm just going to start tearing into it. We only have one right now. The other 5 are coming. But definitely it's sagging, so there's something wrong with it. And so this is an old, beautiful oak chair that I can tell you right now, they used a fabric that was very thin, which is probably not a good idea. Look how, that's just, the sun has just damaged that so badly. And double piping, which I don't mind. I think I told the client that I'm going to use double piping on whatever fabric they bring me. So let's just take the double piping off, see what's going on here. Let's see how they put it on. Did they glue it or did they staple it? Sometimes you have to staple it, but that's cool. We have a question while I'm tearing this apart.
This is from I Am Awesome. What model juke is that?
Jukey.
Oh.
It is a 555, a DDL 555 ON. And this particular model they don't make anymore. They have another model they say replace this one that is better. I just love this. I'm not going to get that model. I love this model. When I'm teaching students, it's a great, Juki designed this particular model for teaching. And as far as industrially working with it, it's fantastic. I love it. It's simple. You can repair pretty much almost all the repairs yourself. It's got a reverse. It's got all the basics. It's not a walking foot, but it's a beautiful little machine. If you see one, grab it. Okay, let's just take the double piping off. I'm really curious to see. Well, first of all, they have a Dacron here, which I wouldn't use on this. It's as far as the batting goes, it's not the batting that I would use. And I think the reason they used it is because they had a thin fabric, and they thought that the Dacron being a synthetic and being white and being smoother than a cotton, because a cotton has seeds in it, that it would be a good underlay. I usually I might agree with that, except that on this here, I think you need to tell your client they need an upholstery weight fabric for this chair. Because the upholstery is part of the overall strength of a chair like this that's a low profile chair that you can't do too much batting with. Does that make sense? So let's just take this out. Any more questions? Live?
There is one from Erica.
Erica?
Well, it's more of a comment.
Comment.
She says, I use a magnetic wrist attachment to keep the tacks on. It's used for nails. I got it at the hardware store.
Oh, that's fantastic, Erica. What a great, ingenious way. Of course, what you're trying to do with any type of innovation like this is speed yourself up. Because once you gain confidence in your work, you need to, if you're going to do this professionally, you need to speed yourself up. And anything that you could do to speed up like that is good. Okay. So the next layer that I see is a synthetic cotton, and I don't use synthetic cotton. I use real cotton. This is real cotton. Real cotton has seeds in it. It has plants and remnants of plants. I mean, this happens to be a AAA cotton, and it's one of the better cottons, raw cotton. I mean, I don't have this. I don't use this. I don't like it because it doesn't have the body. So far, I don't particularly agree with the way this was done. Okay, so then we come to a piece of foam. It's not a high density foam, what I use, and it's falling apart on me, so it's not a good quality foam even. And it used to be 1 inch, looks like a ½ an inch, but it's all been crushed down. And you know, I don't think this is this old. I think this is probably about 20 years old and shouldn't be doing this. Okay, then the biggest mistake of them all. They only have a piece of that really stiff burlap, granted, not the burlap that I use is a little bit looser woven, but I would never use a burlap exclusively without the webbing, and that's what they did here. So I'm going to try to take this apart, and they stapled it on, no webbing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this just to show you. And look at, there's nothing underneath. So look, there's no webbing at all. So that's a bad thing. That's not good at all. In no time at all, this was sagging. So you know, and I wouldn't blame the person doing it. I bet they just didn't know. You know, that this is why I think the YouTube videos that I provide are invaluable to people who are just starting out. Because, you know, when I first started, I wish I had YouTube videos. I did a lot of mistakes. I had a lot of mistakes. Could have been prevented if I had a channel like mine. But I love it. I was talking to somebody today about the YouTube, some of the, you know, proper channels. So beneficial to starting out any trade, I think. But so the proper way to do this would be probably 1, 2, 3 webbings this way, and that's the seat webbing, the red webbing. 2 this way interlaced, then a piece of burlap over that, then a piece of cotton over that, then probably a 1 inch piece of foam over that, but a high density foam, and then a cotton over that, and then a heavyweight upholstery fabric, not a lightweight fabric, because again, like I said before, that adds to the overall strength of the seat, and then a nice finish with the double piping or French nails. Probably wouldn't do French nails on the oak frame here. It's very difficult getting French nails on the oak frame, so probably double piping, and that's it. So that's good. We'll put this aside. Now, I want to talk about a little segment that we're adding. We're probably going to add this to the question and answer maybe every week. We'll try. But we're also going to post it on YouTube, I think, because I think we've got an interesting idea. So I had an idea. The idea was the quest for the most comfortable or the perfect seating that you can possibly get. So we sent Jimmy out. We're sending Jimmy out, who is my right-hand man here, and one of the popular. Why don't you come up here, Jimmy? And we're gonna show something that happened to Jimmy's first project that he found. He's been setting a quest. The quest is, he's gonna try to find what he thinks is the most comfortable seating that you can find. So, is that up there, Patrick?
Let's go now.
And we'll just wait for people to see that, but do I have to narrate that? Is it, let me know when it's up.
It's up.
So you're about to see Jimmy find in the trash a chair, and he was really excited, as you can see. But he has to be careful because there's a lot of closed-circuit TV out there. But we're sure that this piece, if you're going to find pieces, make sure they're being thrown away and not just put on the sidewalk.
What you got there? Come on in. What'd you find?
Yeah, it would be kind of.
Well,
like, yeah,
I
that's
found
probably
a formal
get the
chair.
better quality.
Wow, bring it in, man. We'll talk about it on the live question and answer show today.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
We just so happen to be starting a new, Jimmy's been given an assignment to find
Well, that's all you
the
need, you
ultimate
get those
seat.
nice
What we're trying to
sofas
do
to
is
do.
find the ultimate seating. And Jimmy's first find is an interesting one, and we'll talk about it live on the question and answer.
Yeah, so I'll replay it for everyone.
Let me
It's
know.
back up now.
All right, so you saw Jimmy,
It's going again, so.
it's going up again.
Yeah.
Can they hear that, Patrick?
Yeah, there's audio on it. So.
Okay. What's he doing? What's he saying?
He looks very suspicious right now. He's gonna steal something.
Oh, Jesus, you know? It's that quality cameraman, that's what I think.
Oh, there you are, Jimmy. Oh.
Yeah, don't I look like a stalker?
Oh, wow. You're on the hunt there. You're like a caveman, a Neanderthal.
Yeah. You notice I didn't find any cars back there with the doors open.
I'm glad you didn't get that cone either. That wouldn't have been comfortable to sit on.
What?
When you start, you say something, so I want to make sure you're not talking over
What?
the stuff that you say.
Somebody's at the door. Oh, it's Jimmy. Jimmy, what you got there? Come on in. What'd you find?
Well, I found a
Oh, I
formal
should
chair.
have done that.
Wow, bring it in, man.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on the live question and answer show
All
today.
right.
Sounds good to me.
We just so happen to be starting a new, Jimmy's been given an assignment to find the ultimate seat. What we're trying to do is find the ultimate seating. And Jimmy's first find is an interesting one, and we'll talk about it live on the question and answer.
Okay, you're back then.
Well, that's fantastic. So Jimmy found this chair, and why don't you get up for a second, Jimmy, and let's show people. Let's give it a profile. Let's show front. So what we're looking for, I should probably be a little bit more specific before you go out on your next quest.
Yeah, and not for days like you have in this thing.
What I'm looking for, think about in the old days, they used to commission upholsterers, kings and queens used to commission upholsterers. They used to say, I'm the king, make me the most comfortable chair that you can imagine. Price is not an issue at all. That's why they commission, they give you a blank check. Here, make the best seating available, right? So what you found, unfortunately, is one of the worst seating for long-term seating, I should say. But I wasn't specific because what you did find is a dining room chair. It's called a parson chair, dining room chair, parson chair. That's
Okay.
mediocre in seating at a dining room table. So what I mean by that, let's turn it this way. See, a king. If you brought this to the king, I'm afraid the guillotine might be waiting for you, Jimmy.
Yeah, they might want to sharpen it on my neck.
Because you've got. The back has a good angle back, which isn't too bad, but the seat is straight. And the seat is straight, no angle at all in the seat.
Yeah, there's no shape to
The
it.
reason it is because it's a dining chair. You know, you have to sit straight up. So as a dining chair, it's not bad. It's a little soft, too soft in the seat for a dining chair, but that's not what we're looking for. So I'm going to be a little bit more specific for your next, your future quest.
Why don't you go out? It's your
Well, you know, if I see something, I'm going to grab it. But make sure that nobody's moving. And if you see a moving truck, and you
yeah,
see,
well, that's when you got to really move. That's when you got to act on things. Hey guys, I got it. Don't worry.
well, you know, if it's in the trash, like next to a dumpster like this one is, that's fine. We'll
Okay.
find a use for this, no doubt about it. But not
Okay. We can do this up in a nice.
a slip cover, maybe.
Oh, there you go.
Sure.
Give it to Bernice and maybe she
Yeah,
can.
yeah, but it's not a bad find. Usually Parsons chairs come with many others. They come
Like
in
a-
sets of
like a-
6, 8, or 10 or 12. But they're very expensive to redo, by the way.
Why?
There's a lot. It's very labor intensive.
So the bottom, the base.
Oh, so we have a question, Jimmy. Maybe Jimmy can answer this question.
This is from Lucas.
Lucas, hey Lucas, how's Belgium?
In regards to the swan chair, how is the stripping of the foam going? Can you explain a little on what you think the process is going to be like when you replace the foam? There's another one after that.
Yeah, so we have another question after this, Lucas, but I wanted to answer. So
They're
far,
both Lucas. He's
Yeah.
both Lucases. So on the swan chair's downstairs right now, and I attempted to take the foam off today, and I did not have with me, and I need to get one. What are those scrapers for the car? In the past, I've used the scraper to take that latex foam off because it's a little wide like this, and it has the teeth in it. The chisel wasn't doing it, and I took a bigger stick and I tried to be gentle with this too because it is a fragile piece and it moves too. I'm gonna have to secure the swivel, but I'm still in the process of taking that off. As far as rebuilding it, the rebuilding process is not that great. I'm gonna be just taking a 1-inch piece of foam and stapling it along the edge, but not over the edge. That's important because you need to keep the lines alive on that chair, and hopefully I have demonstrated this on Jimmy's chair, the Ottoman, which is coming up, right, Patrick?
Yeah, the next couple of weeks.
So we have a little bit of a.
The announcement will go out.
We'll
when
put
it's
the
ready.
announcement up. His online class shows these transition lines that are really important when you're doing this type of work. Do you remember, Jimmy?
Yep.
You had that base welt that ran along the bottom,
Yes, there was
and
kind
we
of.
worked hard on that.
We had the extra trimming we had, the little bit of work that we had.
Yeah, I highly recommend the online classes, you guys. I hate to, it's not self-promotion, I really do believe in them. And Jimmy can tell you that the online classes, you learn so much more, and we spend a huge amount of time on this stuff, you guys.
11 classes.
Jimmy had 11 classes on an Ottoman. Can you believe that?
No, that was for the other one. Was it the other? No, 11 classes for the arts and crafts.
He's
chair.
got another one. We got all these in queue coming up.
The
you guys.
Ottoman's already up.
The Ottoman's already up.
Yes.
So you're seeing
So
that,
you get to
Lucas.
see me again.
Jimmy's gonna be the star of these shows.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, you have to.
Syndication, that's what we're looking for, everyone.
There's this-
Oh, we have another follow-up question.
Lucas also asks, will it be glued down around the edges? Just interested because I can't imagine having to try and replica such a slim edge and hand stitch around that.
Lucas, that's a good question because they used a lot of gluing in these mid-century chairs. I don't own a spray glue. They used to be equipped with booths that were sealed. You put the mask on, and they had hoses, pneumatic hoses
Right.
that push out the glue in these guns. And I don't like that at all. I don't like that. I have very little glue. I might have a spray glue can here and there. I do a lot of securing with staples. I don't like the glue. Glue, bless you.
Thank you.
Glue actually will lose its effect too and start to give way in no time at all. The staple's the best way to go. Is there any more questions
No,
or comments, Patrick?
just about weather.
Yeah. It was
Just what?
it seems to be cold and rainy everywhere. So-
Yeah,
Well-
yeah. Jimmy, that alley looked pretty dangerous when you grabbed this chair.
Yeah, thank God it was well lit and,
Who knows where that was?
not in a high crime area either,
But somebody, I think I want you, so the quest for you next time
Yes,
is to look for a chair. I think it definitely has to have arms,
yes.
right? So think of a king's throne.
Something big.
Something, well, that's
Floppy?
interesting.
Would you say big and floppy?
It doesn't necessarily have to be big,
Okay.
right? But we're trying to come up with even our own design for the most comfortable seating ever. I'm talking about a piece of furniture.
Now, who's
that
going to
you-
be the judge of this, by the way?
Well,
Michaela.
I'm going to show. Michaela could be the judge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it. Can you bring in that whiteboard here, Jimmy, a little bit? I want to show people what I'm talking about. So people think automatically. Let's start with the seat first. Let's start with well, the back seat, right? This simple angle, right? So here you got representing about a 12-degree angle, 12 to 14-degree angle, right? Degrees, percentage, whatever. And down here, this is about a 6 degrees,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So far, that's what a human body, any human body, forget about the height. Forget about the height or anything, just we're looking at the angle. That's what the human body wants to recline at right there. So when you have a piece like this, that is, it has the back, but it has the straight seat, you're gonna spend, what it comes down to is spending less time on that piece of furniture. You're not gonna be comfortable for a long time with that, no matter what type of filling you put in it, you're not gonna be cozy. So let's go back to our original design. So some people think the best, softest filling is the best way to go, right? Not necessarily, right? Because let's say you put, I'm gonna go with it. Remember, you get unlimited resources. So you say, let's put an 8-inch cushion stuffed with down, 100% down. Why, go all the way, 100% down. You know what that means? That means there's a lot of geese out there that had to sacrifice their little coat right here. That's just where the down is, right
Right
here.
in the front.
Right? So you see, you look up, you see a lot of bald geese going overhead. That's because you wanted the 8-inch cushion with the
Well, not me, it wasn't me.
And the king, you're doing this for the king, right? So just because you have down in the seat and you have the angle, the proper angle, you still don't have the support, right? We're talking about the seat.
Yeah.
So then you say, well, why don't I add springs, coil springs, right? 8-way tie coil springs, definitely. That definitely is the base. So when you're out there looking, you're looking for a chair that's able to be taken a spring too.
I want to go like this.
You visualize a king, right? A king has to decide all of the laws in his kingdom, and he has to sit on that throne for 12 hours a day, right? He wants to be comfortable, right? You're the upholsterer.
So.
You're the upholsterer.
Yeah.
He
I'm
needs.
looking at the guillotine.
We're putting the pressure on you, Jimmy.
Yes.
So when you look at this chair, there's not enough room even to put coil springs in this chair, and no loose cushion. So I think we're onto something, right? So you want a loose cushion, definitely, not an upholstered seat. Loose cushion and an 8-way tie coil spring. That starts. That's the start, right?
Okay.
So, what about the rest of it? What about the back? What about the arms?
Wide arms. I'd say wide, medium to wide arms. You know,
Yeah.
when you're relaxing in front of a TV, you want to kind of like.
Do you want your elbows?
I would like, you know,
not to. You don't want your elbows on any wood.
No.
Right,
This
so
is all 100% cushion.
This is going to be upholstered completely. No wood frame. So,
Okay.
right?
Right.
'Cause if
What
there's a-
I'm thinking of already.
Good.
What I'm thinking of an example right now, like an oversized wide chair,
Yep.
more than normal.
With big upholstered arms.
Yes.
So.
But that may not be everybody, so.
Yeah. So.
But it's one style.
Let's say we're looking at the front of the arm. Would it be a rollover like that?
Yeah.
Like
Exactly
something
like that. Yeah.
So that's your idea.
You
The
forgot
king
the
also
TV
gave you
idea.
another rule to
Oh,
follow.
jeez.
The king
know-
also.
King Kevin, is that?
No. The king also wants this to be really pretty and attractive.
Oh,
Because
God.
once in a while, the queen has to sit in his space,
Oh,
right?
for the bride.
Well,
Your
right.
bride.
So when I look at this is a pretty average arm, isn't it?
Well, you don't see too many. Like I say, what I'm thinking of is a large.
So you
lid.
might be thinking of an arm maybe that has pleats like this. It's getting a
Maybe
little,
fancy.
yeah.
Well, I mean, if you wanted, you could put the. Well, maybe I don't know.
What about having a panel within a panel like that?
Ooh.
Have you ever seen that? Panel within a panel, and then maybe a
So-
little contrasting piping, and maybe And maybe
Would a different pattern be something kind of
a
an
different,
accent?
a different pattern.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
maybe if you're daring, but you have to ask the court jester maybe if the king is fond of tassels. Because if he's fond of tassels, you can hang a tassel, right, from over here and maybe over here. What do you think? Too much?
Too much, way too much.
Well, but you got
We've definitely been watching way too many Danny Kaye movies.
So let's eliminate the tassels.
Yeah, and like, where you going with this?
So what I'm trying to do in your assignment is on the next the project that you find.
Yes.
And this, by the way, another rule the king has. He loves
Can take these rules.
he loves recycling. He
Oh.
wants you to recycle. He wants you to find these along the trail, as long as they're abandoned. This have to be abandoned furniture, orphan,
Often.
orphan furniture.
So basically, the chair has to almost say, "Take me."
Take and so you've got quite a job here. You find so I'm
Right.
trying to set you up. So it has to be a chair that's very attractive, very comfortable. We can make it attractive. Actually, when you find it, it doesn't have to be attractive. We're going to make it attractive.
Of
right?
course we are.
Right. And so what about? Well, so we need something soft on the arms.
Okay.
So the French had a tradition,
Oh.
yeah, where they put down in the arms. Now, putting down in the arms is very unusual.
Really?
They used to make these little envelopes of down,
Yeah.
and they used to, and even with springs too, on the top of the arm. So let's have the top. Let's just go over here. Let's just. Can you get me the eraser over there, Jimmy?
The eraser. Where would you?
Patrick, can you get Jimmy the eraser?
Oh, thank you, young man. Your
So let's talk about the arm. If you find a chair like this, it
Oh,
doesn't
this
have-
is. I saw one
That's just a
on
eraser.
Facebook community, and I said, "Oh, this looks like it might be something."
So we think we're going to have a rollover arm.
Mm-hmm.
We may have pleats. We may have we may put a button right there, or we
Ooh,
may.
there you go.
Isn't that nice? Or
Alright.
we may have a panel within a panel with contrasting piping. But now that doesn't solve the problem of your elbows, right?
Okay.
So you've got a law that you've got to make up. The king's sitting there. He's in 5 hours of his day, and his elbows. You want to make sure that his elbows are comfy, right?
Yeah. So you want a good height.
So why can't we put a row of springs on the top of the arm attached to the wood? Hand tie these springs.
Oh wow.
Hand tie these springs on the top of the arm. And why can't we put burlap over that?
Mm-hmm.
And why can't we take an envelope of down, a substantial
God,
envelope
wow,
of down right over that? What do you think?
Wow. That's. I
Remember,
wouldn't-
we have
I
unlimited
wouldn't-
resources.
Yeah, the king. Where's the budget? I want to see the
We have
budget.
no budget. He said, just make me comfortable. Right?
Oh,
He's got a lot of laws to pass.
I like the idea of the spring because I've never seen that on an arm before.
That's very unusual.
It is
Now-
very.
If he's a Danish king,
Oh God.
what you're about to see is very rare. And I
We
think,
have a question.
yes.
This is from Nicole. Do you guys ever remove paint from chairs before reupholstering them? If so, what brand chemicals do you use?
I never get into paint refinishing or anything here at the shop. I learned a long time ago the two don't mix. So
It's a different. You need another shop. With
I
another
have
room.
people that help me that I sub it out, that they do their work. But with me, the way I look at it is you could be as clean as possible too. You're still going to have, let's say in the morning you're refinishing, you're still going to have, even if you wash your hands, you're still going to have some residue in your hands. Then you go to upholster to the white
Well, yeah,
white
you're gonna
velvet
be really.
sofa.
You're gonna be really
I mean,
super clean.
You really do. Actually, be aware. During the day, I'm washing my hands constantly, and not only that, I'm looking at my hands all the time to make sure I don't have a cut. If you have a
Yes.
cut in your hand, at the end of the day, you look back and
What did I touch?
it looks like Stephen King, a horror movie or something that he's all your
That
furniture.
fits in nice.
What?
Oh, Pennywise.
Pennywise might like that, but I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
Nothing was Scotch guarded.
Yeah. Before you put.
By the
before
way,
you-
if you do get blood on upholstery,
Yes.
the remedy quickly, if you notice, is cold water will neutralize it right out of most fabrics.
Okay.
Cold water on a muslin rag, not soaking wet, but just damp. It will
Enough
take
to
it right off. Take it right off. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now what were we talking about? Oh, if he was
You
a
taking me out for
Danish.
dinner? Because I think, oh, you missed that, folks. You missed that.
If he was a Danish king,
Oh,
he
God.
would be wise to buy a Papa Bear chair. And a
Papa Bear.
Papa Bear chair, it looks just like, oh my, I hope I can represent this well. So we'll come up like this, and it's got wings like this, wings. It's got a seat, an upholstered seat, I believe. And these are the wings, and these are the arms, let's say, the arms come this way. And when you sit on it, Jimmy,
Mhm.
it has the feeling, it's all sprung up, right? So when the king sits on this chair, the chair feels like it's collapsing around you and giving you a bear hug. Can you believe that? I've only done one of these in my career, and it's fascinating, very difficult to do because everything's wired in here. It's all wired. There's nothing to attach to. There's no wood. I think there's a wood on the bottom, but that's it.
Well, that's the way the Danish.
So when you sit,
Mm-hmm.
the chair does collapse, and it feels like it's hugging you.
Oh, okay.
But our king doesn't want to be hugged.
Yeah, he's not a friendly person.
He doesn't
Not
want
a
that.
warm
It's
and
too
fuzzy.
reclined, it's too,
Warm
you
and
know.
fuzzy, no.
Yeah. So our king wants comfort, and I think you're onto something with the wide seat. Because our king also doesn't get much exercise, right?
So that little bit of booty he's got.
Height-wise, what do
Oh.
you think about height?
Well, a good six.
From the
6'2".
seat, there's the seat.
Right.
These are the legs. Oh, we got to talk about legs. What type
Something
of
with
legs?
style.
Do you want finished legs or upholstered legs?
Finished.
What about upholstered legs? They're hard to do. They cost money. Doesn't matter. We got an unlimited budget. So if you were gonna refinish it, would you refinish it in like a gold finish, probably, right?
Well, for the king, yes. For
I think
me,
so.
I go to a classic stain.
No, that's you need to get
You need
real
something
gold.
rich.
Gold plate
Rich.
gold.
Gold.
No,
Who told
well,
you?
we'll talk more about
Yeah,
that.
we'll have it.
So-
We'll have it out in the back.
But what I'm wondering is, do you know what the exact height? This is the loose. Let's say there's a loose cushion here. This is the seat portion. It's underneath the cushion. What would you say is the height?
18.
That's pretty good, 17 to 18 inches.
Oh, okay.
17 to 18 inches. Now that seems to work for most bodies.
Okay.
Most people, that seems to
And then
work.
on top of that, now you have the cushion, which is.
Well, that's another thing too, though. Aesthetically, the king wants this to look good. He does not want it to, he wants a good-looking chair too on top of it, right? He wants comfort and he wants good-looking chair. So this cannot be more than 5 inches, let's say. Well, for the king, we'll make it 5 inches because we're gonna get a wide seat, right?
Okay.
So when you're out hunting, let's talk about the back a
So
little
a few
bit.
comments now, if you want to hear them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a follow up from the whole painting thing. So I am awesome. They sand in their shop, just mostly.
Yeah,
Didn't mention about painting.
yeah, sanding,
And then
not a good idea.
Erica said,
That's
we
it.
finished the desk in nitrocellulose,
Wow,
lacquer.
wow.
That's what it is. Because I wanted a custom color.
Yeah, nice,
Wonder what that is.
nice. It
Is
sounds
that like
nice.
shiny black one?
Yeah,
Oh,
like a
really?
lacquer. They actually, is that it, Pat?
Yeah, just those two comments.
Lacquer, as far as I'm concerned, black lacquer has been banned in this country because of it's toxic. That's what I understand. This is a few years old though. I'm not sure if they've come up with something new. As far as sanding or refinishing, especially sanding, I'll tell you, you need a separate facility to sand because what happens with sand, those little fibers get in fabric. You have to be very careful.
Yes, now you
There-
If
It's
it's in
like
a
a
separate
mag-
area, he does that. I don't
That
know.
he's smart if he has the facilities. Unfortunately, I have a small shop, so I don't have the facilities to do that.
No.
No, you sand, all those little particles get in fabric. You can
Yes.
hardly get them
And it
out.
has to be quite the distance. I've done it before.
Let's talk about the back, Jimmy.
Okay.
To cushion the back or not? What do you think? Loose cushion on the back?
No, it's gonna be
I don't-
something fur.
Okay, so,
Something fur.
so if it's for a spring back, like the arms, so everything, we're gonna have springs everywhere. We're gonna have springs
We're
in the
gonna
seat.
spring is sprung.
Spring is sprung, and Jimmy is
I
gonna put
wrote
springs
that.
everywhere. So we're gonna have an upholstered back with springs. What number springs? Okay, I'm gonna try to plant this in your mind. What gauge spring and what number spring do you think on the seats, the arms, and the back? So let's start with the seat first. Quick.
All right.
He's got 10, 9, no, I'm just kidding. What gauge, first of all, what gauge? Gauge, spring on the seat.
Well, of course they're gonna be what?
You got light, heavy, and medium.
Oh,
What do you
I
think?
would probably go heavy.
Heavy, you're right. Heavy gauge on the seat. What number spring do you want? Now, this is the King you're talking
What's this again?
What number spring? How big of a spring do you want?
Oh, at least
The biggest spring they make is a number 7, I believe. So it
7.
goes-
And that's how many
sorry,
inches?
1 to 5. 5 being the biggest, which is
I-
like this. The King's, get
Well, yeah,
the
he's-
number 5,
He's
come
got that
on.
booty, we gotta.
Number 5 with the wire edge.
Now,
Seat
what's the
front.
wire edge? What is
That's
that?
going to add comfort to the already comfortable cushion, which we still haven't decided on. But I think the King deserves a spring down cushion. Spring down cushion.
Oh my God.
Okay, I mean he's getting the works there. Now what? And we talked about the arms. We're running out of time. We spent so much time in the King's chair.
Yeah.
What size spring on the arms and what gauge?
Light.
Yes.
Light.
Light
You're
gauge.
And then I think medium in the back.
Light gauge on the, what number spring? Number 1, right?
Yeah.
Number 1. This is the number 5. And on the back, that's the arms. On the back, what did you say?
I probably go medium.
I like
think medium.
that. Medium and a little bit bigger because the back takes a little bit more weight than the arms. The arms, the seat takes the most weight, which is the heavy gauge, right? The arms take the less weight, which is the light gauge. The back
So if
takes.
we do this, how many springs would if
I'm
this
telling you,
is a-
I'm estimating, Jimmy. I'm estimating on this, right? So now you know you need to get a bigger piece of furniture. I mean, come on, we couldn't fit all this crap in this thing.
I need a truck.
You need a bigger boat.
Exactly.
So listen, you asked me how many springs.
Yeah. Well, how
Oh,
many
man,
springs in the back?
On the back, we're talking 4 rows of 4.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
And on the arms, we're talking about 8 down the arm. 8
8.
springs. 8 on each arm. And the seat, we're talking 4 rows of 4. So that's
God
it.
Damn, he's a big booty.
We're talking after that. We're talking a wire edge seat with the big springs, the heavy gauge springs. We're talking on top of that a spring and a down cushion. We're talking about on the arms. We're talking about light gauge springs on the
I
top of
think
the arms.
that chair's going to be for me and not for the King.
Well, listen, and then we're talking down on the arms, and then we're going to wrap the back with a nice layer down. And we haven't even gotten to the outsides yet on this.
Oh my God! What are what's going on here?
So your job is to find a frame that
Oh my
that
God.
can fit all this stuff. Now I'm going to move this aside. This is just some of the things that are going to go into this chair.
Oh, Kevin, we won't have a life on any afternoon.
Jimmy, we're talking about Daycon. We're talking about foam. We're talking about springs. We're talking about cotton. We're talking about webbing. We're talking about finger roll, that they used to call me old days. We're talking about fox edging. And guess what? This is only the basic stuff.
Oh, well then thank God we're here for the right show and you're going to show us everything.
You're right. Now we're going to pause for a second here, Jimmy, and ask if there's any questions before we leave. We're almost, believe it or not, the hour's almost gone talking about the King's chair. So can I look forward to having you go out and search the countryside?
Yes, I'll find a truck first because that's what we're going to need. And then I have to hire some people.
Well, we'll be able to help you if need be. Just give us a call. But I have a feeling that we're going to see a couple of chairs before we get it right?
I think, yeah. You know, it's fun to see what's out there. It's
Yeah.
amazing what people still have. And they say, geez, I've had this, 2 generations already. I want to get rid of it now. So, hey, we're going to take a peek and we'll see what everybody else has out in the side.
I'll tell you, I'm excited about this next segment.
This will be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited about next week to see what you come up with.
Well, I hope there's something, Kevin. I mean,
Now, I don't want to read in a local police blot, a man arrested for taking moving.
I was helping them. They just didn't give me the address.
Jimmy, thank you for coming in. It's
Hey,
been
no
it's been great, and we'll see you next week.
All
and
right.
We'll say goodbye now to all.
Well, I
our-
wanted to mention one more thing quickly. I came up with a cool idea. If anybody wants to send us pictures of your shop or workspace, we can
Yes.
we can check them out. I can post them up, and you can talk about it then. And
That would be fabulous. We'd like to see what other people are doing to make themselves comfortable in order to upholster and to do a
Right.
good job, right?
Whether it's in somebody's garage or basement, or if they happen to have a shop. Let's see
So
what's
don't
going on.
forget, Jimmy. Now, do you watch us on YouTube, Jimmy?
Yes, I do.
Have you subscribed?
Yes, I am.
That's what you do now. I'm going to say it again. I say it every time.
Say it again.
Out of a million people watch the videos, right?
Yeah.
Only 10%. No,
Oh,
not
you
even
gotta.
that. It's like way
well,
down.
it could be. It's 1 million views, so all those million could be just Jimmy clicking it 1 million
Is that
times.
you, Jimmy?
I
Thank
swear to
you.
God, I don't know what you're talking about. You guys are always pinning something on me. I tell you that.
You're making it seem like it's for different
Well,
people.
that's why subscribers are more important.
Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you, Jimmy. And you've benefited. It's increased your mental and physical health watching the videos.
Definitely hasn't increased the mental time.
Well, with that, we'll see you later.